Chapter 87. Blood money ad Diyat. Chapter 1. And whoever kills a believer intentionally, his recompense is hell. Narrated Abdullah. A man said, O Allah's Messenger, which sin is the greatest in Allah's sight? The Prophet said, to set up a rival unto Allah, though He alone created you. The man said, what is next? The Prophet said, to kill your son, lest he should share your food with you. The man said, what is next? The Prophet said, to commit illegal sexual intercourse with the wife of your neighbor. So Allah revealed in confirmation of this narration. And those who invoke not with Allah any other God, nor kill such life as Allah has forbidden, except for just cause, nor commit illegal sexual intercourse, and whoever does this shall receive the punishment. 25:68. Narrated Ibn Umar. Allah's Messenger said, a faithful believer remains at liberty regarding his religion unless he kills somebody unlawfully. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar. One of the evil deeds with bad consequence, from which there is no escape for the one who is involved in it, is to kill somebody unlawfully. Narrated Abdullah. The Prophet said, the first cases to be decided among the people on the day of resurrection will be those of bloodshed. Narrated Al-Miqdad bin Amr al-Kindi. An ally of Bani Surah who took part in the battle of Badr with the Prophet, that he said, O Allah's Apostle, if I meet an unbeliever and if we have a fight, and he strikes my hand with the sword and cuts it off, and then takes refuge from me under a tree and says, I have surrendered to Allah and he has embraced Islam, may I kill him after he has said so? Allah's Messenger said, do not kill him. Al-Miqdad said, but O Allah's Messenger, he had chopped off one of my hands, and he said that after he had cut it off. May I kill him? The Prophet said, do not kill him, for if you kill him, he will be in the position in which you had been before you kill him, and you will be in the position in which he was before he said the sentence. The Prophet also said to Al-Miqdad, if a faithful believer conceals his faith Islam from the disbelievers, and then when he declares his Islam, you kill him, you will be sinful. Remember that you were also concealing your faith Islam at Mecca before. Chapter 2. And if anyone saved a life. Narrated Abdullah. The Prophet said, no human being is killed unjustly, but a part of responsibility for the crime is laid on the first son of Adam, who invented the tradition of killing, murdering on the earth. It is said that he was Qabil. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar. The Prophet said, after me, after my death, do not become disbelievers by cutting the necks of one another. Narrated Abu Surah bin Amr bin Jarir. The Prophet said during Hajjat al-Wada, let the people be quiet and listen to me. After me, do not become disbelievers by cutting the necks of one another. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr. The Prophet said, Al-Kabair, the biggest sins, are to join others as partners in worship with Allah, to be undutiful to one's parents, or said to take a false oath. The sub-narrator Shuba is not sure. Muad said, Shuba said, Al-Kabair, the biggest sins are 1. Joining others as partners in worship with Allah, 2. To take a false oath, 3. And to be undutiful to one's parents, or said to murder someone unlawfully. Narrated Anas bin Malik. The Prophet said, the biggest of Al-Kabair, the great sins are 1. To join others as partners in worship with Allah, 2. To murder a human being, 3. To be undutiful to one's parents, 4. And to make a false statement, or said to give a false witness. Narrated Usama bin Zayd bin Haritha. Allah's Messenger sent us to fight against Al-Huraka, one of the sub-tribes of Juhayna. We reached those people in the morning and defeated them. A man from the Ansar and I chased one of their men, and when we attacked him, he said, "None has the right to be worshipped but Allah." The Ansari refrained from killing him, but I stabbed him with my spear till I killed him. When we reached Medina, this news reached the Prophet. He said to me, "O Usama, you killed him after he had said, 'None has the right to be worshipped but Allah.'" I said, "O Allah's Messenger." He said so in order to save himself. The Prophet said, "You killed him after he had said, 'None has the right to be worshipped but Allah.'" The Prophet kept on repeating that statement till I wished I had not been a Muslim before that day. Narrated Ubadah bin As-Samat. I was among those Naqibs, selected leaders, who gave the pledge of allegiance to Allah's Messenger. We gave the oath of allegiance that we would not join partners in worship beside Allah, would not steal, would not commit illegal sexual intercourse, would not kill a life which Allah has forbidden, would not commit robbery, would not disobey Allah and His Apostle, and if we fulfilled this pledge, we would have paradise. But if we committed any of these sins, then our case will be decided by Allah. Narrated Abdullah. The Prophet said, "Whoever carries arms against us is not from us." Narrated Al-Anaf bin Qais. I went to help that man, Ali, and on the way I met Abu Bakr, who asked me, "Where are you going?" I replied, "I am going to help that man." He said, "Go back, for I heard Allah's Messenger saying, 'If two Muslims meet each other with their swords, then both the killer and the killed one are in the hellfire.'" I said, "O Allah's Messenger, it is alright for the killer, but what about the killed one?" He said, "The killed one was eager to kill his opponent." Chapter 3. O you who believe, Al-Qisas is prescribed for you in case of murder. Chapter 4. To question the killer till he confesses. Narrated Anas bin Malik. A Jew crushed the head of a girl between two stones, and the girl was asked, "Who has done that to you?" "So and so, or so and so." Some names were mentioned for her, till the name of that Jew was mentioned, whereupon she agreed. The Jew was brought to the Prophet, and the Prophet kept on questioning him till he confessed, whereupon his head was crushed with stones. Chapter 5. If someone kills with a stone or with a stick. Narrated Anas bin Malik. A girl wearing ornaments went out at Medina. Somebody struck her with a stone. She was brought to the Prophet, but she was still alive. Allah's messenger asked her, "Did such and such a person strike you?" She raised her head, denying that. He asked her a second time, saying, "Did so and so strike you?" She raised her head, denying that. He said for the third time, "Did so and so strike you?" She lowered her head, agreeing. Allah's messenger then sent for the killer and killed him between two stones. Chapter 6. Life for life, eye for eye, nose for nose, ear for ear, tooth for tooth, and wounds equal for equal. Narrated Abdullah. Allah's messenger said, "The blood of a Muslim who confesses that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and that I am his apostle, cannot be shed except in three cases. In cases for murder, a married person who commits illegal sexual intercourse, and the one who reverts from Islam, apostate, and leaves the Muslims." Chapter 7. Whoever punished with the stone. Narrated Anas. A Jew killed a girl so that he may steal her ornaments. He struck her with a stone, and she was brought to the Prophet, but she was still alive. The Prophet asked her, "Did such and such person strike you?" She gestured with her head, expressing denial. He asked her for the second time, and she again gestured with her head, expressing denial. When he asked her for the third time, she beckoned yes. So the Prophet killed him, the Jew, with 2 stones. Chapter 8. The relative of the killed one. Chapter 8. The relative of the killed person has the right to choose one of 2 compensations. One of the 2 compensations. Narrated Abu Huraira. In the year of the conquest of Mecca, the tribe of Kusa killed a man from the tribe of Lait in revenge for a killed person belonging to them in the pre-Islamic period of ignorance. So Allah's apostle got up saying, Allah held back the army having elephants from Mecca, but he let his apostle and the believers overpower the infidels of Mecca. Beware, Mecca is a sanctuary. Verily, fighting in Mecca was not permitted for anybody before me, nor will it be permitted for anybody after me. It was permitted for me only for a while, an hour or so of that day. No doubt, it is at this moment a sanctuary. Its thorny shrubs should not be uprooted, its trees should not be cut down, and its lukata, fallen things, should not be picked up, except by the one who would look for its owner. And if somebody is killed, his closest relative has the right to choose one of 2 things, yet either the blood money or retaliation by having the killer killed. Then a man from Yemen called Abu Shah stood up and said, "Write that for me, O Allah's messenger." Allah's messenger said to his companions, "Write that for Abu Shah." Then another man from Quraysh got up saying, "O Allah's messenger, accept al-idkir, a special kind of grass, as we use it in our houses and for our graves." Allah's messenger said, "Accept al-idkir." Narrated Ibn Abbas. For the children of Israel, the punishment for crime was al-qisas only, yet the law of equality in punishment, and the payment of blood money was not permitted as an alternate. But Allah said to this nation, Muslims, O you who believe, qisas is prescribed for you in case of murder up to end of the verse 278. Ibn Abbas added, Remission, forgiveness in this verse means to accept the blood money in an intentional murder. Ibn Abbas added the verse, then the relatives should demand blood money in a reasonable manner. 278 means that the demand should be reasonable, and it is to be compensated with a handsome gratitude. Chapter 9. To shed somebody's blood without any right. Narrated Ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, the most hated persons to Allah are three. 1. A person who deviates from the right conduct, an evildoer, in the haram sanctuaries of Mecca and Medina. 2. A person who seeks that the traditions of the pre-Islamic period of ignorance should remain in Islam. 3. And a person who seeks to shed somebody's blood without any right. Chapter 10. Excusing somebody who killed by mistake. Narrated Aisha. The pagans were defeated on the day of the Battle of Uhud. Satan shouted among the people on the day of Uhud, O Allah's worshippers, beware of what is behind you. So the front file of the army attacked the back files, mistaking them for the enemy, till they killed Al-Yaman. Hudayfa bin Al-Yaman shouted, my father, but they killed him. Hudayfa said, may Allah forgive you. The narrator added, some of the defeated pagans fled till they reached Taif. Chapter 11. It is not for a believer to kill a believer except by mistake. Chapter 12. If a killer confesses once, he should be killed. Narrated Anas bin Malik. A Jew crushed the head of a girl between two stones. It was said to her, who has done this to you? Such and such person, such and such person. When the name of the Jew was mentioned, she nodded with her head, agreeing. So the Jew was brought and he confessed. The Prophet ordered that his head be crushed with the stones. Hammam said, with 2 stones. Chapter 13. Killing a man for having killed a woman. Narrated Anas bin Malik. The Prophet killed a Jew for killing a girl in order to take her ornaments. Chapter 14. Al-Qisas in cases of injury. Narrated Aisha. We poured medicine into the mouth of the Prophet during his ailment. He said, don't pour medicine into my mouth. We thought he said that out of the aversion a patient usually has for medicines. When he improved and felt better, he said, there is none of you but will be forced to drink medicine except Al-Abbas, for he did not witness your deed. Chapter 15. Whoever took his right or retaliation from somebody without submitting the case to the ruler. Narrated Abu Huraira. That they heard Allah's Messenger saying, we Muslims are the last to come, but will be the foremost on the day of resurrection, and added, if someone is peeping, looking secretly into your house without your permission, and you throw a stone at him and destroy his eyes, there will be no blame on you. Narrated Yahya. Humayd said, a man peeped into the house of the Prophet, and the Prophet aimed an arrowhead at him to hit him. I asked, who told you that? He said, Anas bin Malik. See hadith number 258 and 259, volume 8. Chapter 16. If someone dies or is killed in a big crowd. Narrated Aisha. When it was the day of the Battle of Uhud, the pagans were defeated. Then Satan shouted, O Allah's worshippers, beware of what is behind you. So the front files attacked the back files of the army. Hudayfa looked, and behold, there was his father. Al-Yaman being attacked, he shouted to his companions, O Allah's worshippers, my father, my father. But by Allah, they did not stop till they killed him, Hudayfa's father. Hudayfa said, May Allah forgive you. Udwa said, Hudayfa continued asking Allah's forgiveness for the killer of his father till he died. Chapter 17. If someone kills himself by mistake, there is no diyah. Narrated Salama. We went out with the Prophet to Khaybar. A man from the companions said, O Amir, let us hear some of your huda, camel driving songs. So he sang some of them, a lyric in harmony with the camel's walk. The Prophet said, Who is the driver of these camels? They said, Amir. The Prophet said, May Allah bestow His mercy on him. The people said, O Allah's Messenger, would that you let us enjoy his company longer. Then Amir was killed the following morning. The people said, The good deeds of Amir are lost as he has killed himself. I returned at the time while they were talking about that. I went to the Prophet and said, O Allah's Prophet, let my father be sacrificed for you. The people claimed that Amir's good deeds are lost. The Prophet said, Whoever says so is a liar, for Amir will have a double reward, as he exerted himself to obey Allah and fought in Allah's cause. No other way of killing would have granted him a greater reward. Chapter 18. If somebody bites a man and has his tooth broken. Narrated Imran bin Hussein. A man bit another man's hand, and the latter pulled his hand out of his mouth by force, causing two of his incisors' teeth to fall out. They submitted their case to the Prophet, who said, One of you bit his brother as a male camel bites. Go away, there is no diyah blood money for you. Narrated Iyala. I went out in one of the Ghazwa, and a man bit another man, and as a result, an incisor tooth of the former was pulled out. The Prophet cancelled the case. Chapter 19. Tooth for tooth. Narrated Anas. The daughter of another slapped a girl and broke her incisor tooth. They, the relatives of that girl, came to the Prophet, and he gave the order of Qisas, equality in punishment. Chapter 20. The Diyah for fingers. Narrated Ibn Abbas. The Prophet said, This and this are the same. He meant the little finger and the thumb. Narrated Ibn Abbas. I heard the Prophet saying the same as above. Hadith 34. Chapter 21. If a group killed or injured one man, will all have to give diyah or be punished with al-qisas? Ibn Umar said, a boy was assassinated. Umar said, if all the people of Sana'a took part in the assassination, I would kill them all. Al-Mughira bin Hakim said that his father said, 4 persons killed a boy, and Umar said as above. Abu Bakr ibn as-Zubayr, Ali and Suwaid bin Mukarin gave the judgment of al-Qisas, equality in punishment, in cases of slapping, and Umar carried out al-Qisas for a strike with a stick, and Ali carried out al-Qasis for 3 lashes with a whip, and Shuraih carried out for 1 last, and for scratching. Narrated Aisha. We poured medicine into the mouth of Allah's Messenger during his illness, and he pointed out to his intending during his illness, and he pointed out to us, intending to say, "Don't pour medicine into my mouth." We thought that his refusal was out of the aversion a patient usually has for medicine. When he improved and felt a bit better, he said to us, "Didn't I forbid you to pour medicine into my mouth?" We said, "We thought you did so because of the aversion one usually have for medicine." Allah's messenger said, There is none of you but will be forced to drink medicine, and I will watch you, except Al-Abbas, for he did not witness this act of yours. Chapter 22, Al-Qasama. Narrated Sa'al bin Abi Hatma, a man from the Ansar, that a number of people from his tribe went to Khaybar and dispersed, and then they found one of them murdered. They said to the people with whom the corpse had been found, "You have killed our companion." Those people said, "Neither have we killed him, nor do we know his killer." The bereaved group went to the Prophet and said, "O Allah's Messenger, we went to Khaybar and found one of us murdered." The Prophet said, "Let the older among you come forward and speak." Then the Prophet said to them, "Bring your proof against the killer." They said, "We have no proof." The Prophet said, "Then they, the defendants, will take an oath." They said, "We do not accept the oaths of the Jews." Allah's Messenger did not like that the blood money of the killed one be lost without compensation, so he paid 100 camels out of the camels of Zakat to the relatives of the deceased, as Diyat blood money. Narrated Abu Kilaba. Once Umar bin Abdul Aziz sat on his throne in the courtyard of his house, so that the people might gather before him. Then he admitted them, and when they came in, he said, "What do you think of Al-Qasama?" They said, "We say that it is lawful to depend on Al-Qasama in Qisas, as the previous Muslim caliphs carried out Qisas depending on it." Then he said to me, "O Abu Kilaba, what do you say about it?" He let me appear before the people, and I said, "O chief of the believers, you have the chiefs of the army staff and the nobles of the Arabs. If 50 of them testified that a married man had committed illegal sexual intercourse in Damascus, but they had not seen him doing so, would you stone him?" He said, "No." I said, "If 50 of them testified that a man had committed theft in Homs, would you cut off his hand, though they did not see him?" He replied, "No." I said, "By Allah, Allah's Messenger never killed anyone, except in one of the following 3 situations. 1. A person who killed somebody unjustly was killed in Qisas. 2. A married person who committed illegal sexual intercourse. And 3. A man who fought against Allah and his apostle and deserted Islam and became an apostate." Then the people said, "Didn't Anas bin Malik narrate that Allah's Messenger cut off the hands of the thieves, branded their eyes, and then threw them in the sun?" I said, "I shall tell you the narration of Anas." Anas said, 8 persons from the tribe of Ukkel came to Allah's Messenger and gave the pledge of allegiance for Islam, became Muslim. The climate of the place, Medina, did not suit them, so they became sick and complained about that to Allah's Messenger. He said to them, "Won't you go out with the shepherd of our camels and drink of the camels' milk and urine as medicine?" They said, "Yes." So they went out and drank the camels' milk and urine, and after they became healthy, they killed the shepherd of Allah's messenger and took away all the camels. This news reached Allah's messenger, so he sent men to follow the traces, and they were captured and brought to the Prophet. He then ordered to cut their hands and feet, and their eyes were branded with heated pieces of iron, and then he threw them in the sun till they died. I said, what can be worse than what those people did? They deserted Islam, committed murder and theft. Then Anbasa bin Sa'id said, by Allah, I never heard a narration like this of today. I said, O Anbasa, you deny my narration? Anbasa said, no, but you have related the narration in the way it should be related. By Allah, these people are in welfare as long as this Sheikh Abi Kilaba is among them. I added, indeed, in this event, there has been a tradition set by Allah's messenger. The narrator added, some Ansari people came to the Prophet and discussed some matters with him. A man from amongst them went out and was murdered. Those people went out after him, and behold, their companion was swimming in blood. They returned to Allah's messenger and said to him, O Allah's apostle, we have found our companion who had talked with us and gone out before us, swimming in blood, killed. Allah's messenger went out and asked them, whom do you suspect, or whom do you think has killed him? They said, we think that the Jews have killed him. The Prophet sent for the Jews and asked them, did you kill this person? They replied, no. He asked the Al-Ansars, do you agree that I let 50 Jews take an oath that they have not killed him? They said, it matters little for the Jews to kill us all and then take false oaths. He said, then would you like to receive the Diyat after 50 of you have taken an oath that the Jews have killed your man? They said, we will not take the oath. Then the Prophet himself paid them the Diyat, blood money. The narrator added, the tribe of Hudail repudiated one of their men for his evil conduct in the pre-Islamic period of ignorance. Then at a place called Al-Batta near Mecca, the man attacked a Yemenite family at night to steal from them, but a man from the family noticed him and struck him with his sword and killed him. The tribe of Hudail came and captured the Yemenite and brought him to Umar during the Hajj season and said, he has killed our companion. The Yemenite said, but these people had repudiated him, their companion. Umar said, let 50 persons of Hudail swear that they had not repudiated him. So 49 of them took the oath, and then a person belonging to them came from Sham, and they requested him to swear similarly, but he paid 1,000 dirhams instead of taking the oath. They called another man instead of him, and the new man shook hands with the brother of the deceased. Some people said, we and those 50 men who had taken false oaths, Al-Qasama, set out, and when they reached a place called Nakla, it started raining, so they entered a cave in the mountain, and the cave collapsed on those 50 men who took the false oath, and all of them died, except the 2 persons who had shaken hands with each other. They escaped death, but a stone fell on the leg of the brother of the deceased and broke it, whereupon he survived for 1 year and then died. I further said, Abdul Malik bin Marwan sentenced a man to death in Qisas, equality in punishment, for murder, basing his judgment on Al-Qasama, but later on he regretted that judgment and ordered that the names of the 50 persons who had taken the oath Al-Qasama be erased from the register, and he exiled them in Sham. Chapter 23. If somebody peeps into the house of some people. Narrated Anas. A man peeped into one of the dwelling places of the Prophet. The Prophet got up and aimed a sharp-edged arrowhead or wooden stick at him to poke him stealthily. Narrated Sa'd bin Sa'd as-Sa'idi. A man peeped through a hole in the door of Allah's Messenger's house, and at that time Allah's Messenger had a midri, an iron comb or bar, with which he was rubbing his head. So when Allah's Messenger saw him, he said to him, "If I had been sure that you were looking at me through the door, I would have poked your eye with this sharp iron bar." Allah's Messenger added, "The asking for permission to enter has been enjoined, so that one may not look unlawfully at what there is in the house without the permission of its people." Narrated Abu Huraira. Abul Qasim said, "If any person peeps at you without your permission and you poke him with a stick and injure his eye, you will not be blamed." Chapter 24. Al-Aqila who pays the Diyah. Narrated Ash-Shubi. I heard Abu Juhayfa saying, I asked Ali, "Have you got any divine literature apart from the Quran?" Once he said, "Apart from what the people have." Ali replied, "By him who made the grain split, germinates, and created the soul, we have nothing except what is in the Quran, and the ability, gift of understanding Allah's book, which he may endow a man with, and we have what is written in this paper." I asked, "What is written in this paper?" He replied, "Al-Aql, the regulation of Diyah, about the ransom of captives, and the judgment that a Muslim should not be killed in Qisas, equality in punishment for killing a disbeliever." See Hadith number 283, volume 4. Chapter 25. The fetus of a woman. Narrated Abu Huraira. Two women from the tribe of Hudayl fought with each other, and one of them threw a stone at the other, causing her to have a miscarriage, and Allah's Messenger gave his verdict that the killer of the fetus should give a male or female slave as a diyah. Narrated Hisham's father from Al-Mughira bin Shuba. Umar consulted the companions about the case of a woman's abortion caused by something else. Al-Mughira said, "The Prophet gave the verdict that a male or female slave should be given as a diyah." Then Muhammad bin Maslama testified that he had witnessed the Prophet giving such a verdict. Narrated Hisham's father. Umar asked the people who heard the Prophet giving his verdict regarding abortions. Al-Mughira said, "I heard him judging that a male or female slave should be given as a diyah." Umar said, Present a witness to testify your statement." Muhammad bin Maslama said, "I testify that the Prophet gave such a judgment." Narrated Urwa. I heard Al-Maghira bin Shuba narrating that Umar had consulted them about the case of abortion, similarly as narrated in number 42. Chapter 26. The Diyat is to be collected from the father of the killer and his asaba, but not from the killer's children. Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger gave a verdict regarding an aborted fetus of a woman from Bani Lihyan, that the killer of the fetus should give a male or female slave as a diyah, but the woman who was required to give the slave died, so Allah's Messenger gave the verdict that her inheritance be given to her children, and her husband, and the diyah be paid by her asaba. Narrated Abu Huraira. Two women from Hudayl fought with each other, and one of them hit the other with a stone that killed her and what was in her womb. The relatives of the killer and the relatives of the victim submitted their case to the Prophet, who judged that the diyah for the fetus was a male or female slave, and the diyah for the killed woman was to be paid by the asaba, near relatives of the killer. Chapter 27. Whoever sought the help of a slave or a boy. Narrated Abdul Aziz. Anas said, when Allah's Messenger arrived at Medina, Abu Talha took hold of my hand and brought me to Allah's Messenger and said, O Allah's Messenger, Anas is an intelligent boy, so let him serve you. Anas added, so I served the Prophet at home and on journeys. By Allah, he never said to me for anything which I did, why have you done this like this, or for anything which I did not do, why have you not done this like this? Chapter 28. No diyah in cases of mines and wells. Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger said, there is no diyah for persons killed by animals, or for the one who has been killed accidentally by falling into a well, or for the one killed in a mine, and 1/5 or 1/5 of Rika's treasures buried before the Islamic era is to be given to the state. Chapter 29. No diyah for the one killed by an animal. Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet said, there is no diyah for a person injured or killed by an animal, going about without somebody to control it. Similarly, there is no diyah for the one who falls and dies in a well, and also the one who dies in a mine. As regards the Rika's buried wealth, 1/5 thereof is for the state. Chapter 30. The sin of a person who killed an innocent dhimmi. Narrated Abdullah bin Amr. The Prophet said, whoever killed a mu'ahid, a person who is granted the pledge of protection by the Muslims, shall not smell the fragrance of paradise, though its fragrance can be smelt at a distance of 40 years of traveling. Chapter 31. A Muslim should not be killed for killing a kafir. Narrated Abu Juhayfa. I asked Ali, do you have anything divine literature besides what is in the Quran, or as Uyayna once said, apart from what the people have? Ali said, by him who made the grain split, germinate, and created the soul, we have nothing except what is in the Quran, and the ability, gift of understanding, Allah's book, which he may endow a man with. And what is written in the sheet of paper? I asked. What is on this paper? He replied, these legal regulations of Diyat, blood money, and the ransom for releasing of the captives, and the judgment that no Muslim should be killed in qisas, equality in punishment for killing a kafir, a disbeliever. Chapter 32. If a Muslim being furious slaps a Jew. Narrated Abu Sa'id. The Prophet said, do not prefer some prophets to others. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. A Jew whose face had been slapped by someone came to the Prophet and said, O Muhammad, a man from your Ansari companion slapped me. The Prophet said, call him. They called him, and the Prophet asked him, why did you slap his face? He said, O Allah's Messenger, while I was passing by the Jews, I heard him saying, by him who chose Moses above all the human beings, I said protestingly, even above Muhammad. So I became furious and slapped him. The Prophet said, do not give me preference to other prophets, for the people will become unconscious on the day of resurrection, and I will be the first to gain I'll be the first, and I will be the first to gain conscious. And behold, I will find Moses holding one of the pillars of the throne of Allah. Then I will not know whether he has become conscious before me, or he has been exempted because of his unconsciousness at the mountain during his worldly life, which he received.